Narcissists are masters of manipulation, often deploying subtle and covert tactics to exert control over their targets. Over time, they employ strategies such as divination, a metaphorical term for creating a self-serving alternative reality, and suffocation, slowly stripping away the independence, freedom, and identity of their victims to alienate and isolate their targets from their social circles and support networks. These tactics parallel certain methods seen in modern news media propaganda, where information is distorted or a narrative is repetitively pushed until it seems like reality. Understanding these psychological dynamics reveals a disturbing similarity between personal and societal manipulation. Let's explore how these tactics operate on both levels. In the context of narcissistic relationships, divination can be understood as the narcissist's ability to weave a narrative where they control the reality the target experiences. This isn't about supernatural foresight, but rather about constructing a worldview designed to serve their desires and distort the victim's perception. A narcissist might 1. Gaslight. By constantly making the target question their own memory or perceptions, the narcissist redefines what is real. The target becomes confused, unsure if they are recalling events correctly, and begins to rely more heavily on the narcissist for truth. 2. Change the narrative. A narcissist will frequently reinterpret past events to paint themselves in a better light, no matter what actually happened. Over time, the target may even accept this warped version of history. 3. Impose their worldview. Narcissists impose their beliefs, values, and perceptions onto their target, gradually eroding the target's independent thought. Eventually, the target may feel as though they need to consult the narcissist for what is real or acceptable. While the narcissist is busy redefining reality, they are also engaging in a process of suffocation, gradually cutting off the target's ability to live independently and think critically. This suffocation happens through 1. Emotional manipulation. Narcissists control their targets by instilling guilt, fear, and insecurity. They frequently alternate between rewarding compliance with love and punishing dissent with emotional abuse, leaving the victim feeling trapped. 2. Isolation. Over time, a narcissist will alienate the target from family, friends, and support networks. They may disparage those close to the victim or create circumstances where the victim feels too ashamed or powerless to reach out for help. 3. Micromanagement. By controlling every aspect of the victim's life, including their social interactions, hobbies, and even their thoughts, narcissists can make the victim feel helpless and dependent on them for guidance and validation. The tactics used by narcissists on an individual level closely mirror some of the manipulation techniques employed in today's media landscape, particularly with how propaganda alienates and divides the public. News media, especially in polarized societies, can use tools akin to divination and suffocation to control the narrative and shape public perception. 1. Divination. Through misinformation, media outlets can propagate false or misleading narratives that support their particular political, ideological, or commercial goals. Just as a narcissist rewrites history, certain media entities selectively report facts or twist the truth, creating a version of reality that suits their agenda. Repetition of these distorted narratives makes them appear more credible, much like gaslighting in personal relationships. 2. Suffocation. Via control of the narrative. By focusing on specific stories and omitting others, news media can suffocate alternative perspectives. This selective coverage narrows the range of acceptable discourse, much like how a narcissist cuts off their target's access to alternative viewpoints. The public can become so reliant on a single news source for information that they may not even question whether they are being manipulated. 3. Alienation of opposition. Media can create and reinforce us versus them narratives, painting opposing viewpoints as dangerous, ignorant, or immoral. Whether through narcissistic relationships or through media propaganda, these tactics lead to the erosion of autonomy and critical thinking. Both forms of manipulation aim to isolate the target, making them dependent on the manipulator for their sense of reality. Over time, this can lead to feelings of helplessness, confusion, and alienation. Just as the narcissist gains control over their victim, media propaganda can sway public opinion, suppress critical voices, and push people into rigid ideological positions. The goal is the same: control the narrative, stifle dissent, and create a version of reality that serves the manipulator. Understanding these tactics is the first step toward breaking free from their hold. In personal relationships, recognizing gaslighting, emotional manipulation, and isolation are crucial to regaining control. Similarly, in the media landscape, questioning narratives, seeking out diverse perspectives, and remaining aware of the potential for manipulation can help us stay informed and independent. Whether dealing with a narcissist or deciphering media messages, the key is to recognize when reality is being distorted and to seek out the truth from multiple sources. Only then can we safeguard our autonomy and resist the suffocation of our independent thought. By understanding the psychological tactics of narcissists and the methods used in modern propaganda, we can develop a more critical lens for recognizing manipulation, whether it's happening in our personal lives or through the media we consume every day.